So I've always been of the opinion, and I still am today, that diversification is absolutely critical, and you must look forward anywhere from 6 months to 2 years if you can be so insightful, because the reality of it is that you can't be reactive, not just in this industry, but in any industry out there. And so it's important that you really know what's going on. So with that being the case, I'm going to bring on my associate here, Paul Radowitz, who is very, very patiently standing by. And let me go ahead and turn you on, Paul, if I may. All right, Paul, I see you are on in two different places, so I'm going to unmute both of you. You should be able to hear me, yeah?
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you so
Yep.
much for joining us.
Glad to
Well,
be here.
I introduced you a little bit earlier today, but for the sake of the people who are jumping on new, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and how we got to know each other?
Yeah, my name's Paul Radzowitz. I own a single store, brick and mortar store called Rolling Fog Vapor Company in Salisbury, North Carolina. I've been open a little over 2 years now, and just got into Vape Mentors and started loving it and started listening and paying attention and just trading ideas and thoughts, just growing together. It's been a really good relationship.
Thank you so much for that, Paul. Yeah, we once a month we have a mastermind session, which is free. You can sign up for it on our Facebook site, and Paul is an active part of that, along with several others. And he may have been the catalyst when we were talking about what other programs to add, because, you know, Paul, you've been an advocate of CBD for a while, correct?
Yes, but
All right.
and of course, not when we first opened.
Yeah.
It was a scary thought back then.
Yeah, so I'm going to just kind of give you all some facts about what CBD is and what CBD is not, and then I'm going to let Paul kind of share his experience, and we're going to have a dialogue back and forth. And again, if anyone wants to say anything, I can turn your microphone on. I know I got Gary Wood on the line, and Gary and I, as I said, have and are doing some business in CBD. You know, I was under the misconception for a long time myself about what CBD is. I've heard about it almost from the earliest days when I got in the industry. And I remember doing an interview in September of 2014 with a company called Holy Grail Vape. And they actually had a CBD liquid line. And I interviewed them for Vape Radio. And that was my first introduction. And so over the years, I've watched the CBD growth curve. And I've also watched the growth curve of cannabis, recreational as well as medicinal. Here in California, where I am, we recently passed a recreational marijuana policy that went into effect in January. And so for a long, long, long time, I knew that I was going to get involved in either CBD or the cannabis space, but I didn't know how, I didn't know when, I didn't know where it was going to happen until just earlier this year. So now, as I mentioned earlier, Gary Wood, who's on the phone, he and I are developing a training program to teach vape shops how to maybe not transition into CBD, but certainly how to add CBD into their inventory. And just in the last couple of weeks here in Orange County, I was presented an opportunity to actually become an owner of a CBD-only shop that is transitioning from a smoke and vape shop. So that's very, very exciting for me, because I am getting to put into practice and benefit and monetize all the different things I've learned over the years. So THC is the dividing line between hemp and marijuana. And so in the state of California, they're fairly lax about it, but in some states it has a pass or fail test, and you can't have more than 3% of THC. It just so happens that a client of mine in Florida who opened up their second shop had a horrible situation where they came in and someone apparently had accused them of selling pot in the store. They came in, they checked, they found no pot, but they did find CBD, and they seized it and they tested it. And so they confiscated it. And so in the state of Florida, they don't look at the percentage. They just look that it does have THC in it. And that set off a whole series of events that was horrible. It's still going on. And I can't share too much details right now, but let's just say it was a bad learning experience for him and a horrible story for me to hear. CBD is not a way to get high. So far, over half the states have legal cannabis. That's medical cannabis, by the way, and 9 are recreational. And according to the Gallup poll from 2017, almost 2/3 of the United States support legalization. So most people agree that within this administration or the one after that, we should have federalized, legalized pot, which is going to change a lot of different things. So now we know what CBD is not. Let's talk about what CBD is. And for those people who have pain, chronic pain, headache pain, menstrual cramps, whatever the case might be, for those who have arthritis, for those who have any type of thing that is causing them to not operate effectively, CBD is a great help for that. And it's also a growing opportunity in a more liberal world. I see about almost a dozen different things that have come in on the chat room, Paul. So I'm going to go ahead and let you share your story of how you got into CBD and what impact is it having on your business? And then I'm going to go and address some of the questions. So it's all yours, buddy.
All right, thanks, Norm. Like I said before, I've been open for a little over 2 years now. And when we first opened, we've heard CBD. We've heard the word. We didn't know exactly what it was. Luckily, my manager's background comes from a vape and glass shop. So kind of had some background experience. He had that experience in that. But we had decided not to pursue it, thinking it's just going to bring the wrong element into our store. We just wanted a vape shop. That's it. We wanted to help people find a better alternative to smoking. So as time went by, we ended up moving to another store, and they had CBD on their shelf, and they left it on there. So we started selling it. We got a couple other brands in the store. It started helping people, and the funny thing is we don't prescribe it. We show people paperwork that we have to give out from the companies that we purchase it from, and it's helping people. But all of a sudden, when I run out of it, I feel a little guilty that the people come in, with their pain issues and are looking for a different, better, healthier way to get their pain meds. So the guys that I jumped on the bandwagon originally, my friends from New York have a couple stores down in South Carolina, and I talked them into it. They followed suit, and they're doing well with it. And it was just another way to help people with their issues and obviously try to make more money. Then all of a sudden, the conversation changes. It went to marijuana. So we started selling a little bit of glass in the shop. We don't have a lot, and it's pretty much all small pieces, but the customer brought the conversation change on. We never started it, we never initiated it, but it was a really good thing knowing the people that were my vape customers were also looking for something else or using something else and just looking to buy a different type of device.
Yeah, Paul, hold on to that thought right there, because we're going to be getting into glassware for a moment. And
Okay.
I just went through the chat room. So I want to let everyone know that I don't want this presentation to be solely about CBD, because we've actually had several conversations about it. If you want, I can send you a link for a radio interview I did with Gary Wood about 2 weeks ago, where we spent 30 minutes just on CBD with his experience. But I just want to address a couple things that came in while they were there. So the question was raised: any shops outside military bases selling CBD or kratom? I would caution you about this, because I do have some clients in Virginia, and they have a smoke shop and they have a vape shop. They actually have several of both, including with a convenience store. And they do not carry CBD, not because they don't believe it, not because there's a market for it, but because a very high percentage of their business is military. And you don't want to be blacklisted by them. So the reality of it is, look at your demographics. If you have a high military presence, I would caution you about doing it. I really would. I see another question that came in about special licenses in Massachusetts and getting a distributor, and we're going to talk about that in a moment. But I do want to talk about a question that comes up all the time, and that is the issues with banking, but more importantly with merchant account providers. Paul, did you have that problem?
No, not at all. Not in this state. We didn't have any issues at all. It's like people were kind of knocking down our doors all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. So here's the thing, guys. You have to be discreet about it. As a matter of fact, the shop that I recently became part owner in, they use their corporate name and they actually run their merchant account through Bank of America. And they have been selling CBD for 2 years. So here we have probably one of the largest banks in the United States that is actually unknowingly providing merchant services for a CBD product. You can't have CBD partners. You can't have anything in your name that indicates that it's CBD because it's just an automatic red flag. I'm going to go ahead and find Gary's contact information, and I'm going to bring him into here as well. And that way we'll be able to hear his personal experience because Gary actually helps other shops get into the vaping industry. So Gary, you should be able to hear me. You should be able to talk. Can you, my friend?
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. How you doing, buddy?
You know, any better, I couldn't stand it. I'm about to put in the chat room a CS number that our company is registered under. And we are a sundries merchant wholesaler,
Yeah.
which is what dietary supplements are under the health and wellness. So it's NAICS 424210.
Gary, make sure you keep your mouth close to the microphone because you're fading in and out. So what Gary's
Everyone is, Norm.
Okay, sorry
I'm
about
right
that.
on mine too.
Okay. So what Gary's alluding to is that, one of the things that I have been doing for a while is trying to ask myself, where is the transition of vape shops into quote unquote something else? And I see eventually it'll be going into the wellness industry. So that's kind of what Gary is alluding to. So tell everyone very briefly about your personal experience with CBD. Again, I don't want to make this conversation tonight just about CBD. And if those of you who are on the chat room do not want to carry anything but vape products, I'd be happy to get your voice on as well. But kind of tell everyone a little bit about your health challenges and how CBD has helped you.
Yeah, for well over a decade, I've got a completely restructured back. It's all completely from the entire L series. It's a broomstick. I was on a cane for well over a decade. My family was carrying me around, bang all the opioids. I chased the dragon. I've made the choice between getting high or being on opioids. I've taken all the over-the-counter. Cannabidiol full spectrum, and let's get away from the CBD. That's the big daddy, right? The cannabidiol. Just like hemp, full spectrum hemp oil is what got me off a particular brand. Hemp Lucid is what I started on in July of last year. This year I am cane free. I am stronger than I've ever been in my life. Instead of more surgeries I was told I needed last year, and I was told I needed a walker last year, I am now cane, like I said, cane free. So that's a nice story. Our stores, our vape shops, which we started in 2013, two of them now, my wife and sister started after we lost our mom to smoking. We started in the phytocannabinoid, the hemp world and health and wellness world about 2.5 years ago now, almost 2.5, as a second part of the vape. We were helping people get healthier, which is what you guys do out there in the vape space. You're helping people get healthier, breathe better. Next logical step is help their CB1 receptors and CB2 receptors fire off. Get away from CBD. Talk about your endocannabinoid system and your natural body, what we make. Does that make sense, everyone? I hope. That's the story. I'm pain-free, cane-free, thanks to phytocannabinoids, and our business is growing in ways we never imagined with wonderful, wonderful people.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Gary. So Gary's going to be standing by as well. Now, if you notice in the chat room, he put out an NAICS number of 424210. So for those of you who are incorporated, which is probably the majority, when you file paperwork, you are going to be asked what your official classification is. So again, you don't want to be putting down there anything that's going to, indirectly hurt you. So let's move beyond CBD. So far, based on the reading of the room, almost everyone is pro CBD. Now, does that mean you're carrying it? That's a total personal decision. A lot of you are actually going into the manufacturing space, and if you need help with anything along those lines, let us know. As I said, Gary has products, and several other people who are on right now have products. So let's talk about glassware. And Paul, this is where I want to bring the conversation back up with you. So glassware